In our last video, we covered part 1 of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid Iceberg. That video was the first 5 tiers of the iceberg. This next one is going to cover some pretty obscure things that maybe not too many people know about. If you didn't see part 1, I recommend you do since there's a lot of things you missed. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Tier 6. The Depths Be Depthing. The movies are shot in Canada. The original 3 Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies had most of their scenes shot in British Columbia, one of the westernmost provinces. Some of the locations include a house in New Westminster, British Columbia, and Shaughnessy Elementary School in Vancouver, British Columbia. Holly has more than one sister. In the webcomic version of Diary of a Wimpy Kid and the original Roderick Rules movie, Holly is mentioned to have a third younger sister. She is apparently around Manny's age and, similar to him, is absolutely spoiled. She is never named, nor is she mentioned in the physical books. Jeff Kinney's Manny tweet. In my last video, I mentioned that Manny was being used by protesters as an anti-police symbol during the 2020 protests and riots. Jeff responded to all of this on Twitter. Lots of people are asking me right now how I feel about my character being used as an anti-police symbol. Honestly, I don't like it. The Black Lives Matter needs to be taken seriously. This isn't helping. The webcomics had more adult content. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, in its earliest form, was meant to be a nostalgia piece for adults to look back upon their youths with. The webcomics, as such, contained alcohol and drug use references and other things that didn't quite make it to the books. Class Clown Short. The Class Clown Short is a short, 2D animated video included with the Dog Days DVD and Blu-ray. It's actually worth a watch, it's here on YouTube, and personally I think that there should be an entire Wimpy Kid movie animated in the book's style. The movie's animated sequences are actually CG. Jeff Kinney's art style for Wimpy Kid is very particular. As an animator and illustrator myself, I know for a fact that it's pretty easy to mess up drawing Greg and friends. My go-to method for drawing or animating them is either to draw on paper first and then digitally trace, or digitally trace an existing illustration. Seems like the former is what the animators of the movies actually ended up doing. The animators ended up using computer software to add bones and joints to their 2D drawings to animate the characters by moving parts of their bodies instead of traditional frame-by-frame animation. It's pretty genius if you ask me. Deleted scenes in the trailers for the movies. Well, this is pretty self-explanatory. Some characters are autistic. Some fans speculate Fregley to be autistic due to some of his strange behaviors and lack of social cues. Further evidence to support this is that Fregley even used to be a special needs kid in the web series. Rowley and Manny have also been speculated to have autism as well, but it's unconfirmed for all 3. Manny has 2 actors in the same movie. As Manny's actor would have been very young at the time of recording the movie, the casting director thought it would be a good idea to hire twins. Twins Connor and Owen Fielding got the job. Interestingly, they had to have their hair dyed for the movie since both are naturally blonde. The reason the casting chose twins is because if one was misbehaving or acting unruly on set, the other twin could be easier to control for the set. This saved the production time and effort. That's pretty smart. Okay, so now down to Tier 7. It just keeps getting darker and darker down here. Somebody give me a flashlight, I need to see what I'm reading. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the musical. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid musical is a play that you can buy a license to perform at your school or elsewhere. It has a pre-recorded music album and everything, and is basically just a Broadway version of Wimpy Kid. Changes for the British version. Diary of a Wimpy Kid had changes made for its UK audience. The main difference is the inclusion of British English words and language. Some flags changed too. Jeff Kinney and Aaron McGruder both drew comics for the same college newspaper. Aaron McGruder's comic strip, The Boondocks, now a full-on TV series, had its start in the same University of Maryland campus newspaper that Jeff Kinney wrote Igdoof for. Pop culture references in Double Down. For starters, this one has a book series called Spine Ticklers in it, which is an obvious parody of Goosebumps. Second, Greg thinks that his life might be a reality TV series where he's secretly being filmed. Third, the costumes at the Halloween party towards the end of the book are characters from movie franchises, such as Hermione appears in Double Down. In the previously mentioned Halloween party, after Greg's mom pulls out her Halloween games, a girl dressed as Hermione can be seen. Poor Greg can't catch a break from his mom, can he? Greg owns a Nintendo 64. We all know Greg loves his video games. Greg in the movies has an Xbox 360, but in the books, he seems to be using a Nintendo 64. You can see his three-pronged controller in many pictures. Hope he hasn't seen the Wario apparition yet. Outrun machine and wrecking ball. On page 64 of the 4th floor of Greg's dream house, an Outrun arcade machine can be seen. Okay then, time to move on to Tier 8. Wacky Dog is a parody of the modern episodes of The Simpsons. The Simpsons has been running for a very long time. As such, it's almost unwatchable at this point, and I don't know why it hasn't been cancelled. It was pretty good and funny for like the first 10 seasons, but just went totally downhill from there. Kind of like Family Guy, or Bob's Burgers, or Beavis and Butthead. Oh, wait, no, that one's actually still pretty funny. Go watch Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Anyways, Greg says that Wacky Dog, his school's newspaper comic, was the exact same way. Funny at first, and it eventually swirled down the commode into unreadableness. It did get cancelled, unlike The Simpsons, when it was used by Brian Little to handle his personal business. Any day now, guys. Color Force Productions. Color Force Productions is the company responsible for making the live-action Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. It was founded by Nina Jacobson after she was fired from Disney in 2006. Rowley's mom in the movies was played by his real mom. Robert Capron was the actor for Rowley Jefferson in the Wimpy Kid movies. His real-life mother, Kay Capron, played Mrs. Jefferson. Loaded Diaper is a Def Leppard reference. Judging from what I heard in the movies and how the name Loaded Diaper is spelled, yes, Loaded Diaper is a Def Leppard reference. Loaded Diaper might also be a Motley Crue reference as well. The pig was created because Jeff Kinney regretted axing Sweetie. Jeff wanted to keep a pet in the Wimpy Kid story, and since Sweetie pretty much would be impossible to adapt back into the storyline, he created the pig in the long haul. Hidden swear word in the cafeteria scene in the movie. In the first movie, after Greg and Rowley get their food and the camera pans around to the mess hall, you can see the word shit above some bulletin boards, obscured by a light fixture. The books are Kids' Choice Award bait. Jeff Kinney won the Kids' Choice Award for favorite book 6 times. Manny watches Ice Age. In the movie, during the breakfast scene, Manny seems to be watching Ice Age, as can be seen on the TV in the background. Coach Malone's name. Coach Malone is a character that appears exclusively in the movies. He replaces Mr. Underwood from the books. His first name was unknown until an executive producer who worked on the movie revealed that it was Eduardo. Now we move on to the second to last tier, the 9th one. The deeper we go, the more stairs I'm gonna have to climb to get back up after I finish this. Westmore Middle School and Plainview never had names in the books. In the books, Greg's town, school, state, and other places remain nameless, whereas in the movie, the middle school was given the name Westmore. However, many fanfic writers use the name Plainville or Plainview in their works. Plainview is a play on Plainville, the city where Jeff Kinney owns a bookstore. Roderick's Secret Stash. So I don't know exactly what this is trying to get at, but what kept popping up for me when I looked this up was a fan fiction. Basically, in Roderick's Secret, Greg found out that Roderick was secretly gay and has a boyfriend he hides from his family. There will be 20 books. Many people have speculated over the years that there would be 20 Wimpy Kid books, at least for the main series where Greg is in middle school. The 20th would have been where Greg finally gets out of middle school and enters Crossland High School, possibly a new series where Greg would have to deal with that would have been started as a result. Jeff Kinney's Sketchpad. When Jeff was developing Diary of a Wimpy Kid in its early stages around the 1998 to 99 mark, he used a cheap sketchpad and some pencils to write everything down. Some of the earliest forms of what we have now started here. Hunger Games chair in the Long Haul movie. At the video game convention Greg attends, some Hunger Games control room chairs can be seen. Greg appeared in an Igdoof comic. A character nearly identical to Greg appeared in an Igdoof strip known as Incredibly Clever Practical Jokers. The joke that Greg used on Rowley with the size of his hand being a sign of low intelligence originated from this strip. Except it involved the one getting pranked trying to see their fingers at the same time and as a result being blinded after being hit. And low intelligence was replaced with cancer. Diary of a Wimpy Kid takes place in New Jersey. More likely than not, this is not the case. In the webcomic, Greg's former best friend, Ben Fielders, moved away to Piscataway, New Jersey, but Greg lives in Plainville, a name inspired by Plainview, Massachusetts. More likely than not, Greg lives in Massachusetts. Loaded diaper truck. In the online series, Roderick had a pickup truck resembling a Chevrolet Avalanche, but this was later changed to a van in the books with loaded diaper scrawled on the side. Specifically, the van in question was a Chevrolet Astro. Hard Luck is the last book with webcomic elements. The first couple books took plot points from the online version of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, with Hard Luck being the last one to do so. The art of Diary of a Wimpy Kid is based off of the way that Jeff Kinney drew as a child. Now, I couldn't find any of Jeff's childhood drawings, but the Diary of a Wimpy Kid art style definitely started taking shape during the Igdoof era. Guys, we've done it. We're at Tier 10, the darkest and deepest waters, the most obscure Wimpy Kid media ever. Get ready, we're in the home stretch. Somali translation made for Sweden. Due to a large population of Somali immigrants in Sweden, a publisher there translated Diary of a Wimpy Kid into its 64th language for Jeff. Book 16 will be about sports. Book 16, aka Big Shot, is out and I did read it, and yes, it is about sports. Basketball specifically. Cousin Virgil. Okay, so I swear I checked for information on this one so many places, but this is the first entry I found where I just got completely stumped. If you know who this is, please comment. The Long Haul was shot in Georgia. So, as we all know, The Long Haul got an entire cast change. It also went from being filmed in British Columbia to being filmed in the US state of Georgia. Deep fried butter is real. Yes, deep fried butter is real, and yes, it's sold at fairs and carnivals. A lot of the foods in The Long Haul are real foods. Where do you think Jeff got all of his ideas from? Awesome Friendly Kid first appeared in the Do-It-Yourself book. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid Do-It-Yourself book featured some of the first drawings Rowley made of Greg and himself. These drawings were the basis for Rowley's drawing style in Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid, the Rowley spinoff. Greg is a comic book nerd. In earlier books, Greg is known for reading comics while eating or using the bathroom. He even went to a comic convention where he tried to get an autograph from his favorite author, Kenny Centazzo. When he had to go to the bathroom while waiting in line, Susan got impatient and forged his autograph. Greg found out about this years later and got pretty mad about it, as understandably he should have been. Manny's age fluctuates in the books. In the online version of Wimpy Kid, Manny is 5, but in later Wimpy Kid books, Manny is 3. Cancelled Cabin Fever Holiday Special. Back when the original Wimpy Kid live-action movies were being made, a Cabin Fever Holiday Special was supposed to join the original 3, but got cancelled. Disney subsequently made a Cabin Fever animated movie. Loaded Diaper was based off of a real band. More likely than not, Loaded Diaper is a parody of Motley Crue or Def Leppard, as stated earlier. Loaded Diaper isn't based off of a real band as far as I'm able to gauge. It might be a parody of one, but it's not fully based off of one. So this concludes our iceberg, but there are a few things I was hoping this iceberg would cover that never made it on. Here are some honorable mentions that I'll just include myself.
Avengeables, Masters of Power.
Avengeables Masters of Power, Coloring the Book, is a bootleg coloring book seemingly featuring a color-inverted Greg Heffley on the cover. It also features Freddy Fazbear, Megamind, and for some reason, a My Little Pony character. There are no pictures of the inside of the book anywhere on the internet, but I imagine it would be pretty, bootleg core? I don't know, I'm too old for these aesthetic things. I think it's pretty damn funny that the person who threw this together thought that Greg Heffley is some kind of superhero or something. I don't know. Roderick is the only normal Heffley. The Heffley family is the furthest thing from being a normal family. You have Frank, the dad who acts like a lunatic most of the time and seems to be one bad day away from snapping. Then there's Susan, Greg's mother, who seems to want to be in control of everything and cannot live without forcing her ideals on her family. Greg is a strange person himself, and he acts like he's the center of the world and comes up with all of these insane ideas. Manny is just plain spoiled, and who knows where he'll be in 20 years. Roderick, however, seems to be the most normal. He might be dancing to the beat of his own drum, but he acts like the most normal person out of all the Heffleys. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, 25 years later. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, 25 years later is a fanfiction that is probably one of the most infamous pieces of fanfiction ever written. It utilized some pretty well done illustrations and followed the Wimpy Kid format pretty well. Some even thought it was canon at first, hence the earlier entry in the first part of this video. It starts off with Greg finding his journal 25 years in the future and beginning to write in it again. His dad passes on of cancer in the beginning, and feeling despair, Greg finally goes to confess his love for Rowley, revealing that he was a closeted homosexual. When Rowley rejects him, he spends the night at a homeless shelter where Fregley tells him to go talk to his mom. Greg goes to visit Susan and finds Mima's diamond ring where he hid it all those years ago. Things spiral from there, and Greg ends up, well, making an attempt to, well, I'm not gonna say it, but you can figure it out. Anyways, Greg survives the accident and is seen in a wheelchair at the end of the fanfic. Thank God this one isn't canon, but it certainly does make for an interesting read. Greg is going to be in middle school forever. Many fans of the Wimpy Kid series with a keen eye will notice something odd. Greg seems to have many birthdays and summer vacations go by without advancing in age or grade level. He seems to never get any closer to making it to high school. He's in an infinite time loop of being stuck in middle school, forever and ever, and yeah, Jeff Kenny confirmed this himself. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Breaking Point. Breaking Point is a full-length fanfiction where Rowley starts acting incredibly, let's just say, weird. He starts off by telling Greg that he's constipated and proud of it. Really sets the tone of things to come. Things escalate from there after Rowley introduces Greg to drugs, and his behavior continues to get weirder and worse until a cult is created. Definitely worth a read, it's entertaining for sure. And finally, Diary of a Farting Creeper. Really just saving the best of the bootleg books for last. You thought Avengeables Masters of Power was amazing? Well, I present to you Diary of a Farting Creeper. This book is made by somebody using the pen name Wimpy Fart. This obviously gives away that this is a Wimpy Kid inspired work. The plot revolves around an unnamed creeper who can't blow up, rather he can only pass gas. It's genuinely one of the books of all time. And that concludes our Wimpy Kid Iceberg. Thank you for sticking around. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I will do my best to respond to as many comments as I can, and with that, this has been Jerry Can Productions. Peace.